The Endless Night, Zadopasiat Kyamt Shadows of the Nameless Valley, Episode 6, Part 2. Nobody touched the wooden horse. For nearly 10 minutes it continued to swing gently from the rope, moving back and forth in the darkness beyond the doorway. The motion should have stopped. There was no wind, no breeze, nothing to keep it moving. Yet it continued, back and forth, as though an invisible hand was pushing it. The villagers stood frozen. Some stared at the toy, others stared into the darkness beyond it. Nobody wanted to be the first person to step outside. Andrei couldn't blame them. Something had left that message. Something had approached the guest house without being seen. And somehow it knew exactly where they were. He stepped closer. The darkness outside seemed different now, denser. The fog no longer drifted naturally. It moved in slow circles, almost as if it were searching, watching, waiting. Maria grabbed his arm. "Don't go out there." Andrei kept his eyes on the doorway. What if whoever left this is still nearby? What if that's exactly what wants you to think? He didn't answer, because she was probably right. The valley had become a trap, and traps were designed to lure people toward danger, not away from it. A sudden crack echoed somewhere in the distance. Everyone jumped. The sound resembled a tree breaking, a loud, violent snap, then another and another. The noises spread across the valley, one after another, like dominoes falling, like something enormous moving through the forest. The sound lasted almost a minute, then stopped. Silence returned, but it wasn't comforting. It felt worse. The silence felt expectant, as though the valley itself was holding its breath. Andrei slowly closed the front door. The wooden horse disappeared from sight. For a brief moment the room relaxed. People began talking again, quietly, nervously. Then the lights went out. Every single one. Darkness swallowed the guest house. Screams erupted instantly. Children cried. Someone knocked over a chair. Andrei switched on his flashlight. The beam flickered weakly. Around him other flashlights appeared. Small islands of pale light floating inside a sea of black. The generator had failed, or something had killed it. Neither possibility was good. Then they heard scratching, a long, slow scraping sound. From outside, it traveled along the outer wall of the building, like fingernails dragging across wood. The sound moved steadily. One side of the guest house, then another, circling them. The villagers gathered closer together. Nobody wanted to stand near the walls. The scratching continued, slow, patient, deliberate. Andrei counted nearly 3 full minutes before it finally stopped. The silence that followed felt heavier than before. Nobody spoke, nobody moved. Then a child whispered, "Something's outside." His mother immediately pulled him closer. "It's okay." But her voice trembled. She didn't believe her own words. Neither did anyone else. Hours passed, or at least Andrei thought they did. Time had become difficult to measure, without sunrise, without sunset, without normal rhythms. The darkness made every minute feel endless. People slept in shifts. Others remained awake, watching the doors and windows. The guest house felt more like a bunker than a shelter. And every hour the atmosphere grew worse. Fear spread like a disease. No one trusted the darkness. Eventually, Andrei found himself sitting near the fireplace. The flames burned weakly, blue again, always blue now. Maria sat beside him. Neither of them had slept. Neither of them expected to. The old woman, Ilyana, approached slowly. She looked frailer than ever. Her skin seemed almost gray, as though the darkness itself was draining life from her. She lowered herself into a chair. For a long time, she simply stared into the fire. Then she spoke. "When I was a little girl, my grandmother told me a story." Maria looked up. "The same story again?" Ilyana nodded. "Because now I finally understand it." The room grew quieter. Several villagers listened. Others pretended not to, but everyone heard. The story spoke of the sleeping one. A cold sensation moved through Andrei's chest. He had heard similar references before. Fragments, legends, half-forgotten warnings. "The sleeping one lives beneath the valley," Ilyana continued, "older than the mountains." "Older than the forest?" "Older than mankind." Nobody interrupted. Even the children remained silent. "The first people who settled here discovered the crack." Andrei leaned forward. "The crack?" Ilyana nodded. "The wound beneath the earth." A shiver passed through the room. She continued. They found a place where the world was thin, where another reality touched ours. The sleeping one existed beyond that place. Her voice dropped lower, and it wanted to enter. The fire crackled softly. Nobody moved. The first settlers made a bargain. Andre frowned. What kind of bargain? Ileana's eyes met his. The kind desperate people make. No one spoke. The sleeping one would remain trapped. And, in exchange, the valley would prosper. For centuries the agreement held. Until someone broke it. The room remained silent. Andre thought about the buried church, the black mirror, the missing children, the strange symbols beneath the school. Everything seemed connected, pieces of a puzzle slowly falling into place. What happens if the bargain fails? Maria asked quietly. Ileana looked toward the dark window. Her expression changed. Fear. Pure fear. The night returns. Nobody said anything, because everyone already knew. The night had returned. A scream shattered the silence. The sound came from upstairs, sharp, sudden, terrified. Everyone jumped to their feet. Andre grabbed his flashlight. The scream came again, then stopped abruptly. The entire guest house erupted into panic. People shouted, children cried. Several villagers rushed toward the staircase. Andre reached the second floor first. The hallway stretched before him. Dark, empty, silent, too silent. The scream had come from room 12. He knew it immediately. The door stood open. A flashlight beam illuminated the interior. Andre entered carefully. The room was empty, completely empty. The bed remained untouched. The window remained closed. No sign of struggle, no sign of blood, no sign of the person who had screamed. Gone. Just like the others. Maria entered behind him. No! Her voice cracked. The room belonged to Elena, a young woman from the village, only 21 years old. Gone, without explanation, without evidence, without a trace. Andre felt a growing sense of dread. The disappearances were happening faster, much faster. Something was escalating, something was preparing. Then he noticed the wall. Fresh scratches covered the wallpaper. Words, hundreds of them, written over each other, repeated endlessly. The second door is open. 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 The message covered nearly every inch of the wall. People backed away immediately. Several began crying. One man simply turned and walked out, as though his mind could no longer process what was happening. Andre stared at the words. The first door. The second door. What doors? What exactly was opening, and what would happen when all of them were open? A distant sound interrupted his thoughts. At first it was barely audible, a low vibration, almost like thunder. Except it wasn't coming from the sky, it was coming from below, far below. The floorboards trembled beneath their feet. Everyone froze. The vibration grew stronger, then stronger still. Pictures fell from walls. Dust drifted from the ceiling. The entire building shook. People screamed. Some fell to their knees. Others ran toward the stairs. And then the sound came, a roar, not from an animal, not from any living creature. It sounded ancient, massive, impossible. The roar seemed to rise from the depths of the earth itself. Andre felt it in his bones, in his teeth, in his chest. The noise lasted nearly 20 seconds, 20 unbearable seconds. Then silence returned. The trembling stopped. The building became still. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. And from somewhere deep within the valley, a second roar answered the first. Closer this time, much closer. And for the first time since arriving in the Nameless Valley, Andre realized something horrifying. Whatever was beneath the earth was no longer alone. End of part 2.